In this video, I'm doing a review of these Milwaukee sawzall carbide tooth reciprocating saw blades. These work really well for thick metal like rebar pipe, about 1 inch in size. They work very well for cutting PVC pipe up to the maximum length you can with the size of blade you have. One of the problems with these has to do with the carbide teeth. I'll overlay a picture over here for you. If you notice, they welded the carbide directly to the blade rather than brazing it, which the purpose of brazing the carbide onto the blade rather than welding it, welding is the cheapest way to do it, is the brazing provides a bit of a cushion. Because the carbide, though really hard and wear resistant, it is incredibly fragile. The copper alloy they use for the brazing compound has a very high load compressive nature. But it'll start compressing just under the load in which these carbide teeth will start chipping and breaking very easily, which is why they're really not that great for cutting metal, because as soon as they hang up on something, they'll start chipping and self-destructing, really. If you notice, I'm going to overlay a picture over here. This is a premium circular saw blade where the load is only in one direction versus on a reciprocating saw blade which has both directions. You notice that it has very thick brazing on it. It's because they're only doing one direction. They don't have to worry about it being pulled off, versus on one of the reciprocating saw blades, which you do have to worry about that, which is why you'd use a thinner braze. I'll overlay right here. This is a cheap circular saw blade that they have a thin braze on. This would be ideal for a reciprocating saw blade because it adds a cushion while still maintaining enough strength to resist being pulled off. If you push down too hard when the blade's going like this, it won't rip off these teeth. That's the way they should have done this. You can get away with something like welding the carbide teeth on if it's a bandsaw blade. That's only because the bandsaw blade has a very springy nature to it, whereas these reciprocating saw blades are thick and zero give. If you ever wanted to know which blade you have when all of these markings are worn off, this is a Diablo. Notice between this thick metal cutting Diablo and this one, this angle here. Dude, this case has a penetration for drywall, little cutter here. This one doesn't. They always have a sharp angle on these with a long taper for the wood cutting ones, and the metal one will always typically be, well, in most cases, a really cheap, crappy one that doesn't have that. So if it doesn't have that, then you look at the blade thickness. The metal cutting one will always be thicker. Probably can't see that, so I'll overlay an image somewhere on the screen. And in the case of really cheap ones, they cheap out on that, and they're pretty much the same thickness. Then you just look at the teeth. I'll again overlay a picture so you can see better. On a general purpose one, I'll have typically a double tooth design if it's a premium blade. On a metal cutting one, it typically won't unless it has that feature. It's really annoying that they don't stamp into the steel what it's meant for. Rather, they just print it on, and stuff like metal cutting, and if you use the blade a lot in wood, it'll rub this off real easy, especially metal. 4 seconds of cutting, and it's already halfway worn it off in this little section here. Super annoying, but those are some ways you can tell them apart. It's a lot easier if they're premium blades, due to the extra features and difference between them.